Hello everyone. My name is Kiki, and if you are new here, which is very likely because this is literally my second YouTube video, welcome to Stories with Kiki. Basically, I like to write, I like to think. I am a 23-year-old girl just going through life, and honestly, I have way too many thoughts to keep in my notes app. So I started writing them on Substack, and a ton of people have resonated with them. I also make Instagram reels on a lot of these topics that I write about. I thought it would be really cool to do like a deep dive into topics. And I feel like in an Instagram video, there's not much I can dive deep into in one 1-minute reel. This is going to be the space where I really go deeper into all of these topics. I've already made one video, and it was like an essay with cool montages. I don't know about you, I like watching YouTube videos where it feels like I'm sitting with a friend, and that's what this feels like to me like right now. We are literally sitting on my bed. We have my laptop. You are seeing the raw version of me. I just want to be raw and authentic on YouTube. I think there's enough space and room for that. So if you are into that, welcome. Basically, I write a ton of Substacks. I know I probably mentioned this before. If you don't know what Substack is, it's basically like a social media platform for writing. So this is Substack here. I just have it open on the web. You have like a feed with people's notes, people's essays, and it's really cool. It's really blowing up right now. So if you don't have it, I'd recommend getting it. It's also really good at like suggesting good topics to you. Today, I'm going to go through one of my Substack pieces as like a little intro. The piece I'm going to go through is this one, and it's called The Space You're Trying to Rush Through. Might be the story itself. So I don't know about you, but I constantly feel like I'm rushing through my life. I recently went through this life-changing journey of moving abroad, and I think I was really comfortable in who I used to be. I was living in South Africa. I am South African, and I moved to Vancouver, Canada. And when I was living in South Africa, I had my parents around, I had my friends around, I had this whole support system, and I was very sure of who I was. And when I moved over to Vancouver, it felt like all of that got erased because I knew no one here. I was 22 when I moved here a year ago. It honestly just was insanely terrifying because I didn't know who I was. I knew who I used to be, but I knew that that wasn't me anymore. I still wasn't where I wanted to be yet. And so it really felt like this weird in-between space. I write quite a bit about that experience, and this stems from that. How I like to think of life, and me specifically of how I deal with life, is I feel like I treat my life like a waiting room where I'm constantly waiting to go into a different room. And when I close my eyes, I feel like I can see myself as a kid being in a doctor's office waiting for the doctor to come and call my name. And that's what my life really feels like. Right now, I'm in Vancouver, I'm living my dream, and I'm already thinking about the next thing. I'm already trying to plan my next move, trying to move on without really sitting in where I currently am. And I think it's very easy to do that when you move through uncertain periods. I'm always looking at the exit sign because when you're in uncertain periods, it feels extremely uncomfortable, and so you just want to kind of move through it. But the whole point of this piece is commenting on the fact that maybe the waiting room is the room. So secondly, I think there comes this deep urgency of the in-between space. There's this restlessness that lives in it. Excuse me. And I don't feel that it's this sadness, but more this impatience of feeling that you're not quite where you want to be yet. I do this constantly. I plan my way through discomfort. I tell myself that once I finish something, then I'll be able to breathe. Then the next thing will make sense. Then my life will all be perfect, There's this deep urgency to get to the other side of things. But the story is already happening. I just keep skipping the pages I'm on. And what I really love is this writer, Zeva Bilal. She writes about the liminal space, and that is basically the in-between periods where nothing fits and nothing holds, and you're desperate to get to the other side. And she asks, in the middle of the piece, what if the other side isn't the point? And this actually stems from this Jewish thought, which this writer also speaks about, where growth lives in the space between the known and the unknown. So it's not the destination that brings growth, but it's in the crossing. The threshold itself is where the transformation is happening. And when I read that, it really touched my heart because I've never viewed the in-between as this phase of growth, but rather as this thing I just need to get through. And I spend so much of my energy trying to get through this phase when maybe this phase is the entire point. So the problem with rushing through this entire phase of like being in between things is when we rush, we often stop paying attention to things. Now, an example I always use is when I was in high school, I wrote like an exam and I was rushing to finish it. And there was this true and false question. And it basically said, all of these statements are false. Correct them and make them true. And I just saw false and true, and I thought it's just a true and false question. So I wrote down what I thought was true, what I thought was false. I failed that exam because of that. And it's because I wasn't paying attention, and that's purely because I was rushing. So when you rush through something, you don't notice what's happening. And when you rush this liminal space, this in-between space, you don't notice what it's teaching you. You stop sitting with these questions and uncertainty, and you don't really notice anything. And the whole point of going through these phases in life is to learn a lot about yourself and to really learn about life and learn about, grow as a human being. When we rush through it, we don't pay attention and we don't notice what it's actually trying to teach us. And I really find that with Vancouver. I'll be rushing through the city, waiting for it to feel like home, rather than actually just feeling present in where I'm at. I'm so focused on arriving on the other side that I actually forget that I'm like somewhere right now. And I really think that this is something that a lot of people can relate to. Pay attention to where you are right now, because you are in something, you know what I mean? So now we know that there's this waiting room, this idea of like moving through life between two seasons, and you feel like you're in a waiting room, and how we try rush through that and how we don't actually take away from what it's teaching us. The whole point now is understanding, okay, maybe we should just stay in the room. Like maybe this is the room. And I'm not saying not to wallow and not to feel your feelings and to have this toxic positivity vibe, but I'm saying just be present in the uncertain seasons instead of spending them with one foot already out of it. Let the questions question without immediately answering them, and trust that the chapter you are in right now is doing something even when you can't see what's happening. And I know this is a lot easier said than done, but I'm really starting to think that the version that I see myself becoming, she's being built right now in this waiting room. And while it's uncertain, I'm choosing to stay here because this is where she is being built. And so the discomfort that you feel in this phase isn't that something is wrong, but it's a sign that something is happening. So I really just want to conclude this idea with just telling you, if you're in a season that feels like this waiting room, if you by any means relate to what I'm saying, you don't have to rush through this. The story of your life isn't waiting for you on the other side. It's busy happening right now where you are. The space you're trying to rush through is the story itself. Stay here, pay attention, and take away from what it's trying to teach you. You are already becoming, and you are already doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. This is exactly where you are supposed to be. That's all I've got for you. But if you want to read the entire piece, I'm linking it in the description. Anyways, my conclusion here is that this was kind of fun for me to chat through this, and I hope that it was able to mean something to you. Anyways, new videos every week, so I'd appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, love you. Forehead kiss. Mwah.